Hi guys, it's Mel. This video is a video request for some. I'll put her info down below, but this is going to be a chatty video, so if you don't have a whole lot of time right now, you might want to just save this for later and watch it. I had someone comment on one of my videos that said, too chatty, get to the point. But I don't let it bother me. Like I was chatting back and forth with a YouTube friend, and she said, I love your videos, you know, don't worry about that. I'm not. I don't worry about those things. I want to say, like, I said to her 95, but probably even higher percentage. 95 of my subscribers are the kindest, sweetest people, and I love them to death. But every now and then, just like life, I explained to her, there's a few rotten apples and some just cranky pants that like to come on your channel and say mean things to you. But I really honestly don't let it bother me. And quite frankly, I'm kind of surprised that it doesn't happen more often, because as my channel is growing, I never had these issues when I was, you know, a little smaller and I didn't have so many subscribers. But, you know, the more subscribers you get, I thought it would be worse, but it's really not. So every now and then you get something a little nasty, like somebody telling you what to do or telling you this or telling you that. And you just gotta, those of you who have channels, don't let it stop you. Every now and then I get mad. Like somebody said some, like a racial comment to me before. Those of you who are new to my channel, we have a biracial family, and somebody said something really nasty to me regarding that, and that one did upset me. I did let that bother me, but you have to let it roll off your back and just know that, you know, that don't let it ruin it for everybody else, and don't let the work you do, because there's people that come on and will say, get better lighting or get a better camera or do this or do that, but they don't realize, like, this is your time you're taking, you know, you're scheduling this out, you're trying to organize what you need to show, what you want to talk about. They don't realize the work that goes into videos, and I don't really blame them for that, because maybe they don't do videos, or maybe they just don't care. But I would never before, and even same thing with the dislike button. Like, some people don't think a big deal of it, and little do they know, when people hit dislike, just for future, if you're a disliker, that only helps the YouTuber. So if they look at the dislikes just as they do likes. So if they count that all together, and like your little credits that you get if you do like the Google AdSense, or that just makes your channel more popular the more dislikes it has. So, you know, they think they're hurting you, or they think they're, you know, sitting behind a computer and hitting dislike after you do all this work to create this video, but really in reality it's helping them. So just a little tip to that, because I get those every now and then, and I'm sure it's somebody who left a nasty comment and I probably blocked them. But it doesn't happen often, and you just have to let it roll off your back. And I just want to say that, because I want anyone who does videos, don't let that discourage you, because it's come close a few times for me where I thought, why am I doing this? Like, it's not even, you know, I'm not going to do this for people to come on and say, do this better, or stop talking so much, or, you know, do this, you know, do that, or don't have your kids in their video, or who knows. Nobody's ever said that to me, but I can only imagine everybody's opinions. So anyway, with that being said, I just want to get that out there. Any of you who do videos, don't let that discourage you. There's, just like in life, there's so many more nice people than there are some nasty people, and don't let the few that have things to say, don't let that ruin it for you. So, done blabbing about that. I'm sure that person would comment, you're too chatty, but that's me. If you don't like chatty, you're not going to like my channel. I talk a lot. I always have. I probably always will. So, you know, you decide who you subscribe to, and if that's not something you're into, you don't have to subscribe. It's as simple as that. But anyway, I would never dislike someone's video. If I don't like it, I just move on to the next one. I don't write anything nasty. I don't choose to, you know, slam on the dislike button. But to each their own, and that's just that. So anyway, there's not going to be nothing pretty to look at in this video, but I'm doing this, I think it's Southern Angels Boutique, but I'll put her info below. But this could help anyone else, and sorry for the blab before this, but this video is just going to be on little how to destash your crafty goodies. It's not going to be super detailed, but I put a lot of good points. This is just my notes you're staring at. But these are just going to be little tips here and there of how we can help you, or how you might be able to get your things destashed in your craft room. I personally am in the middle of like a huge clear out, and I feel such relief My mom has been coming over and work with me. I feel such relief on Peppa Pig.
Ruby Mac.
You're watching Ruby Mac. Time for bed. There you go. She's yawning like her. So anyway, I feel so much better that my craft room, and it's only about halfway where I want it, but we've gotten so far as organizing, rearranging furniture. I just feel like I can breathe so much more. I'm not in my closed-in cubicle. I don't have a mess everywhere. Some places I do, but we're getting there. So the destashing really helps, and it'll help you because even if you want to redo your room a little bit, the little bit of destash money that you get, you can put that maybe towards some new organization things, like some new bins or whatever you're using for your storage. Sorry, you're going to hear that now and then. Talia's sitting across from me. So anyway, here's some tips I put on here. I wrote this a couple days ago, and I just haven't had a chance to do this video because I know it's going to be a long one. But I wrote them down, so I'll just remember them as I go. So some tips I wrote is to constantly go through your stash. So this helps in more than one reason, because you see, yes, it helps you see what you have. And to me, it's almost like Christmas, because you forget if stuff's put out of sight, out of mind. If you constantly go through what you have and do like a mental inventory, you're going to start to see, you know, how many goodies you have and what you want to put to use and what you're like, I don't really like that anymore. And that happens, and that's okay. You're going to get a stamp set that you really like in the beginning, and now you're like, all right, how many times am I going to use this stamp set? And that's when that's time to pass that along. So that's how I look at it. Like, am I going to use this, or, you know, the plans? And I do pretty well when I have my little ideas, but there's no way, you know, us crafters that are really deep into crafting, there's no way you're going to possibly use every single thing that you get, and it's okay. And you might have one idea for it, and then that time has passed, or that holiday passed, and you just really don't like it anymore, and that's when it's time to give it a new home. So constantly go through what you have and make a pile. This I want to keep, this I don't. And then not only does that help you destash and make a pile for that, it's going to help you, you know, become more aware, remember the things that you have. And then what I do from there, I make piles. So like I make a trash pile, because some things you're going to find that aren't worth reselling, or they're, you know, it's just something that might be too hard to ship. Like if it's a larger item, and I'll get into that. But some of the things, like they had their time, and they, stamps are usually pretty good. So even if stamps are stained, I just try to disclose, like if I'm doing a destash, and I'll say, you know, this stamp set has been used. This one has some, you know, like it might be blue because I stamped it in blue. I just try to point that out and just let them know, you know, say if that doesn't bother you, because I have no problem. I go and Crafty destashes, and they're 9 times out of 10 use things. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes they're brand new things, and sometimes they're not, but I don't mind at all. So you got to know whether that bothers you. But I don't mind at all, you know, getting a used stamp set, because those of you who are seasoned stampers like us, they'll stamp just fine. So just keep that in mind. Then I make piles. So whether it's going to be trash or donate, or I have a little daughter who's 9 turning 10 very soon, and I make a pile for her for goodies that show maybe those ones that you think, maybe somebody wouldn't want this, or this is so old, nobody going to want that. So that's where I might either, first I'll see if Maya wants it, or I'll chuck it and get rid of it, or you can donate it. So then there's a pile that's, you know, in decent shape things, and then what I do next is I make sure that every stamp is in its place. And if it's not, if it's really bad, I'll probably give it to Maya, my daughter. Or if there's missing one stamp, I'll put a little post-it on it, and then when I destash it, I'll say, here's the stamp set for sale, however, it's missing this stamp, you know, and then notify them that way. And believe me, like, some people don't mind. They might not like that stamp, and they want it for the rest, and they like it for the good deal. So just see what's in good shape. Make sure it's nothing too heavy or too large. I kind of went over that. Like if it's something too big, you might end up losing out because of shipping. Shipping gets really pricey. And I'll get into the PayPal gift a little bit. I only do my destashes through PayPal gift, friends, and family. Some people don't like that, but I seem to not really have trouble. I just put that out there and make sure that everybody knows. And occasionally they came out with this new thing through PayPal now where you can get your PayPal link, and that has been so easy. So easy for me and so easy for the recipient, because you can write your little PayPal link and then hit a slash at the end and put like $26 if that's what your lot was. And then when that recipient clicks it, it'll take it right to their PayPal. The amount's already in there. The person's email, which is me, who like you're paying, is already in there. And it's so simple. You just put their address in there and you go from there. But the one thing that the buyers may not like, so just you have to know this so that you can explain this if anybody has a question. You can send somebody an invoice. If you send somebody an invoice through PayPal, then it's covered through PayPal. I don't know by how much, and I've had to do a claim through PayPal before where someone had sent me something or said they sent me something and then it never came, so I had to fill out a claim, and it ended up working out on my end at the end, but it took like, I want to say 3 months for this case to get settled because you had to dispute it and then you had to fill all this thing. Believe me, I wanted to give up like a few times where I was like, is this even worth it? Forget it. It was only a $12 stamp set, whatever it was. But finally it ended up working in my favor, but I don't know if it always does. And it wasn't, in other words, it wasn't as great as they were, PayPal protection. They did help out in the end, but it was not easy. It was like a lot of like contacting back and forth over this little stamp set. It wasn't worth it. But that's the protection. So you got to decide if you're a buyer, whether you trust this person, or like I would look at it like this. I've purchased things on YouTube. Not much. I don't do a lot of buying on YouTube. Let me turn my daughter's thing down because she keeps. There you go. Too loud. So, I don't do a lot of buying on YouTube, but when people do like Destashes, I would buy something from them if they were a known YouTuber. Like I'm on here all the time. I have not had any issues with shipping something out. If there was ever something that came damaged, I would, make it right, or, you can file a claim with the post office. We had to do that one time, and everything worked out, but that's very, very rarely happened because you try to pack things in such a way, and you just don't ship things that you try not to. Like one time I shipped some, like, glass craft jars. You are moving my table, Miss Thing. All right, let me get your, let me get her little thing going, so. Why do you keep going off it? You keep hitting buttons. Get her Max and Ruby. Don't want to get to that weird part of YouTube. Right, here's Max and Ruby right here. There we go. Say thanks, Mom. Okay, so we're trying to teach her please and thank you. She does pretty good usually, but I think she's a little cranky right now. So anyway, try not to ship anything that you know is not going to make it. Stamps and dies, they're so easy, and that's the majority of what I sell, because I buy stamps, I use them for my time frame, and then you get tired of them. That's just what happens. And then you can use your Destash money to refresh and get new ones, or use your Destash money to pay a bill. It depends on what you need to use it for. Or like I said, use your Destash money and better your craft room, like get it more organized for you so you feel more comfortable. It's up to you what you decide to do with your money, but I choose to do PayPal gift friends and family because it won't be fees for the person if they pay through their bank. It won't be fees for me because all those fees add up, and you have to really factor in shipping. Shipping is so expensive. Now if it's like over, I think they gave you to 16 ounces, but over that it must go priority, so you have to choose that. I use a lot of the times, let me get one in front of me, is the flat rate Destash. Hold on, let me get this because this is important. These you may have to order, like they never have any in at my actual local post office, but let me get one. So here's my little shipping station. I'm going in my little shipping cabinet. My mom just recently helped me organize. But so this is a bubble rate, padded flat rate envelope, but this is like the bubble one. So here is, let me take this off. Here's how big this one is. It looks pretty big, but there's Miss Talia watching her little thing. But here is what the bubble rate envelope looks like. Padded flat rate. So this is different than this one. This is the one that everybody's probably used to seeing. This is just that thin cardboard one, the flat rate. So this one is slightly more expensive. If you ship through PayPal things are quite a bit cheaper. Also, I want to try stamps.com because I want to know, is there a website that you can, like these are fine, like I always ship through PayPal through the multi-order shipping. And I'll have to do a video on that because that was confusing a little bit at first till I got set up with that. But it bills you right out of your PayPal. It'll take it right out of your PayPal balance if you have one, like from your other D-stashes, to do your shipping, because that's usually how I get paid. And then through my D-stashes. So if you go through there, it's cheaper. Like in real life, I think it's $13.45 for medium flat rate, and it might be like $11.85 on PayPal. So it does give you a discount, and believe me, over time that will save you money if you're doing a huge D-stash, because you got to get rid of that stuff, and shipping really, like the weight of things really can drastically change your shipping prices, and you really end up losing money because you know how much these craft supplies are and how much you paid. So you really end up losing when you got to front the shipping costs. So I try to factor that in. And for me personally, I like to come up with an amount, like say I was selling this. I'd want to say $30 shipped, you know, whatever it is, include your shipping in it just to make it easier so it's not a shock on the person and so it's not so annoying. And this is what I'm going to get to next. So it's not so annoying because people say, what is shipping to 08021? You know, and then you have to go to the post office or look it up or figure it out or weigh it and do all that and type in. Like, it's a lot of work for you. So I just, and this is totally up to you. If you want to be nicer and ship outside the U.S., and it's not that I'm being mean, but if you want to ship outside the U.S., that's getting into customs forms. It gets into more fees, and sometimes you can't track. That's my main thing. You can't track where that package goes. When I do my D-stashes and I send everything out through PayPal, that includes a free tracking number, where normally it's like either $1 or $1.99 at the post office to get a tracking number. That way, if there is a slow up, if it got held up somewhere, I on my end can look it up. If say, oh, hi, I ordered a stamp, it's been a little long, can you look it up? I can easily look up anything that I shipped because it's logged in my PayPal account, and then I can find out, which I never have any issues with that, thank goodness. But that's just a good thing there that I can track it. So then one of her questions is, and hopefully this is covering a lot, but one of the questions she had was, how do you decide on prices? This is just me. This doesn't have to be how you decide, but I'll tell you what I do. I just know how much I paid for it. And then, or what it's, generally runs for. And then if it's brand new, I try to keep it as close to that as I can and discount it some. And generally, they're always going to get a deal because I try to just do a bundle and then it'll be a little cheaper. And then, plus you don't want to send out, like say I was selling these, I try to do them in, like these don't really all make sense together, but I try to do them in bundles because if you sent this out, say it was just this, it would probably be at least $3 to ship. Then this one would be at least $3 to ship. And then this one would be at least $3 to ship just to put it in the package, just the starting rate. But if you ship them all to the same person, that's $3 times 1. It might be a little bit more if you're adding one too much weight, but this should be around the same. So that's why I try to do like a grouping, because you'll get the recipient will get more of a deal. You won't have to have so much work with typing out addresses and, packing up packages. And that's another thing too. You're using your own materials unless it's the flat rate thing. And believe me, they tack that into the price. But, I try to save when I buy things. I try to save the packages and I reuse them. I recycle them. I feel good that I'm recycling them because, all the paper we use as scraps, my husband's like, all the paper you use as scrapbookers. Says, yeah, but you got to help where you can. So I save all my packaging and then I just reuse them, as long as they're in good shape. I reuse them and that's never been an issue. And then that saves you money too, because that's another cost for you. You're going to have to pay for, all the manila envelopes, all your packaging tape. Like, these are things you got to factor in if you keep selling these all individual, like all the tape you're going through, all your packaging you're going through. So keep those things in mind and keep the shipping costs down by recycling packages when you can. I have a bunch of bubble envelopes, and just stack them in a little closet and use them as you need them. So, and definitely if you do bundles, instead of doing all these individually and mailing them all individually and charging all the shipping individually and filling out all the things you have to fill out, it's just going to be cheaper to do bundles. So that's what I would recommend. If you have, it sounds like you have a lot of things to de-stash, I would put like items together and then give them a good price on it and just know you're shipping, like, I guess. So that was your question, and that's probably not the best answer you wanted to hear, but I guess. Like, I have an idea of like what this would cost, and I have a little postage scale that was actually given to me by my husband. It was like a little food scale, but it's all works the same. It tells me how many ounces things are, so then I can go on PayPal and get an estimate, whether it's through and I'll have to do another video on that. But whether it's through first class, if it's under the weight class, and then if it needs to go to priority and all that. And you can go online and get the shipping rates, the current shipping rates for that too. So, so that's another thing. And then so here's where I wrote US only question mark. So you have to decide whether you want to do US only. I personally do US only. It's just easier. I have shipped to Canada before when someone asked me personally, and it was like a friend of mine, but it's up to you because then you're going to have to go to the actual post office, get a customs form, fill out the thing, and you don't know, there's no tracking. That's the only thing I don't like. Once it gets to Canada, there's no way for them to track it and know if they got it. And I know it takes longer to get to them too. So these are all things to factor in. Flat rate is your friend, just like I showed you. I always try to do this because when you ship these through PayPal, I think it's now $6.05 in the padded one, and I think it's like $5.95 somewhere around there roughly for this other cardboard one that I showed you. Tell you, that is too loud. So for this one is like $5.95, and this one's a little more because it's bubble. But believe me, this one's worth it. It's padded on the inside. You know, not by much, but it can hold. I feel like they've gotten smaller, but it can hold a decent amount if you stuff, things in there. So if something's heavy, I recommend you using this because you can even check it when you're on there if you know what the weight of your thing is. And then you put it on the flat rate and put it on just regular priority, where it's not the flat rate. And you'll see the difference, believe me. So that's how I do it. So I kind of go by, like, I feel my thing, like if it's really heavy, like I try to factor that in and how much, are you willing to lose? And I just include it and tag that in. Like, so say I think I want at least $10 for the stamp set, and I know it's going to be $3. You say 13 shipped, or try to do it that way. So, and you're going to get people that ask you, would you take this? But you have to know, and kind of stay firm, like what you mind losing. Sometimes I just want to get rid of things, and I'll say, sure, but then sometimes if it's too much of a low ball thing, you might have to say, I'm sorry, I can't go that low at this time. So there's just some, that's just something you got to factor in. So that, I told you it runs usually around, like, say if you're sending this in a bubble envelope, a smaller one, it usually starts around like $2.80 something. So just to give you an idea of how much to charge. So I usually do that. Like if it's a stamp set or like a stamp and dies, I'll figure on the shipping for first class in the US would be around $3. So factor that in, factor how much you would like to have for your D-stash or what you're selling, and then add in the shipping, and then I say it's shipped. That's what I do. Some people like to say this and then say it does not include shipping, but then you might get an invoice and you'll be like $5 because they decide what the shipping is. So I like to say it all up front, but that's just me, so that they know, that's all flat, like say $13 shipped, that's it. Not that I'm going to send you an invoice for $13 plus $5.95 shipping, whatever it is. So that's why I do that. Shipping through PayPal is cheaper with a tracking number, and a tracking number is always included. So with the tracking number, you don't have to pay anymore. Like, so say if I was going to the actual local post office, I took this, I had them weigh it, and they tell me how much it is. If I wanted a tracking number to be able to follow if it got caught up somewhere, now that's not insurance, so I don't know, it's just so you can find it and prove that you sent it out. You could try to file a claim, but I think you have to get insurance on it to actually be covered. But if it's something like that wasn't that pricey to begin with, I don't get insurance on it because these are all things that add up. Shipping gets so expensive. It takes a lot out of what you're going to be making back. So that's just something to factor in. But I love that you get a tracking number for free included on all your things if you ship through PayPal. So you really, and then you can print it right from your computer. I don't even have to go to the post office. I print out my label, the weight, it charges you, takes it right out of your, like if somebody just sent you, say $15 because you said it was $15 shipped, and it'll take it right out of your $15, and then you can have a backup bank account like included on it, but it'll take it right out of that. So it's like the money that you have is still from it's taking it only from your D-stash money, not from your other money, unless you don't have anything in there, of course. So that I talked about the PayPal gift, friends and family. I talked about the bubble envelopes, always cheaper than, so usually the bubble envelopes, and not just these, like, so say, let me show you this, I have to show you the back so my address is not on there. So say envelopes like this, your basic little yellow envelopes that are bubble ones. These are generally always cheaper than a box. Boxes, you have to measure all the dimensions and do all that. I don't like to get into that. They may protect the item a little bit better, but I just try to wrap things in tissue paper. And again, just try not to ship things that, you know might get some damage done in the mail. Like I really try to just keep it to stamps or paper pads and just be careful. And you know, you're taking a risk, and then like if I was ever to get a message by someone and say, oh, this came ruined, I would probably refund them. Like it's not worth, you know, any arguments or things like that. And some people say, you know, once I ship it, you know, they say I do my best to package it, but once I ship it, it's out of my hands and they're not going to be responsible, which is kind of fair too, because you don't know what's going to happen. But I probably would never do that. I would probably, if there was an issue, you know, you take care of it. It stinks. It sucks if you have to refund the money, but you know, and you can also request like, okay, once you send me back the damaged items, I'll refund your money, and then they might have to be responsible to send it back, and then you'd refund them. Okay, honey. You want Peppa Pig or Ruby Max?
Ruby Max.
Okay, there you go. Sorry if her head's in the way. So bubble envelopes are usually always cheaper than boxes, and they're easier to me. And then you just get yourself a little postal scale, because that measures the ounces, and that'll help you that way. So that's my destash details. That's how I come up. I know it's not like a science to it or anything, but generally a lot of times, 9 times out of stamps. But I have sold like say like craft sprays and stuff. You just make sure you package things. I put things in individual bags just in case they spill. I check all the tops, make sure they're tightened. But like say you're selling something like this, like I've sold things like this, like your glitters. Just make sure all the caps are on, close them all, and then I put little baggies in them just in case they spill. Try to package them with some tissue paper, and then along with the bubble packaging, and 9 times out of 10 they arrive fine. There's no issue. But you just got to be careful, and sometimes there's going to be things that happen. There's going to be some damage done in the mail. I've really had, I know a lot of people talk trash on the postal system, but I've really had not many, for all the shipping I do, the few problems that I've had are really minor. So I'm kind of thankful. Like they could be damaging your packages, and maybe they do. Maybe I just packaged them okay. Like things are okay. But you just got to, again, keep in mind what you're shipping. Like, I would be careful with, like, if it's something, and if it might not be worth shipping. It might be something, like, if you could have a local Crafty D-stash, or, like, I have a few things, like, I have paper racks. Like, I wish I knew more Crafty friends, because I'd probably give some of the stuff to them just to get rid of it. But even if you had, like, a local Crafty yard sale, but then you're getting a whole variety of people. Not everybody's into crafting. I wish I knew more people locally. 1, to hang out with them, but 2, to just so you could exchange, like, hey, do you want this paper rack? I'll trade you for this. And then those bigger items that you can't ship, but it's still a good deal, you could swap that way. But if you have that, great, good for you. I'm jealous, you know, but I don't have, I have 3 sisters, and none of them are into paper crafting. My mom used to do, like, sewing, but she's not into, not that they like to be recipients of it, but they don't like making things. They don't like the work of it, where I do. So, but I don't, so if you have that, you might be able to destash, try to destash locally. If you have a bunch of friends, you know, show them what you have, see if they want to purchase it from you, and that's even cheaper. Then you don't have to deal with shipping, and they don't have to pay the shipping. Like, it's good on both ends, but I don't really have that. And one good thing too, as you build your channel, the more subscribers you have, obviously the more viewers you get. The more viewers you get, the more chances are maybe somebody would be interested in what you have. In the beginning, it's going to be kind of hard if you don't have a whole lot of subscribers. So they might not as many people are going to get to see it, and then, you know, your chances aren't as high, but you never know. Just like eBay, and just like they say, like, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Somebody might have been looking for this stamp set that you think, oh, this is too old, nobody wants that. Somebody may have been looking for that their entire stamping career. So you just don't know. But sorry this video got so lengthy. I hope that answered a lot of questions. Yes, there were a lot of, you know, I just wing it. I wing it with things. When I cook, I don't measure. I just try to guesstimate, and things turn out okay. So hopefully this helps anybody, and you know, who this video is specifically for. And like I said, anybody was welcome to watch this blabber and to hear some tips on, you know, if you're destashing things. But my number one thing to recommend would just be start by sorting. Sort what you have, know what you want to get rid of, figure out whether that's something worth shipping, if the weight's not too heavy, if it's not going to break during shipping. Like, try to make piles of what you're going to get rid of, and then do it. Go through it, put it up on a video. Say this is for sale if you want to put it up on your local Craigslist. Sometimes people, I've never done it through that way, but try it that way. But get rid of those things, and that's not only are you going to make a little spending cash, you're also going to get rid of these things out of your craft room, and you're going to be like, like it's just a little less. It gives you a little more room in your stamp holder. It gives you a little more of your packaging back, like of your Avery L packs, and then you can put your new ones in it. Like it just helps, refresh and get new. And also, like I said, you're doing a personal inventory on the things you have that you may have forgot you have, and it's like Christmas all over again. So let me know in the comments if this has helped anybody. Thank you. If you listened all the way to the end of this, you are a true follower, and I love you guys for that. So sorry for all the blab, and stay tuned for another video. Bye, guys. Hope this helped.